welcome to another chapter of Unleash Your Mind podcast. And today we have a very, very special guest. Despite her young age, she brings hope to our world by making it a better place to live in. She's a physician specialized in emergency medicine, working in one of the busiest emergency rooms in Beaumont Hospital, Royal Oak. As an assistant professor at School of Medicine in Auckland University, she's carving the heads of and minds of the future physicians. This young woman is a speaker and a lecturer on a variety of medical and health-related topics. Using her passion for helping people improve their habits, their health, and their confidence, she wrote her first book, Habit That. I'm honored to invite Dr. Jaime Hope. Hi, Jaime. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's our honor as well. Can I call you Jaime?
Absolutely. Please do.
Thank you. Okay, so before we're going to talk about your book, I want to start talking about your main work, okay?
Okay.
And how would you describe your work? Is it your job or is your passion?
It is my passion.
It is passion.
It is, because it can be a very crazy, chaotic environment, and it's hard work. And if you presented somebody with a job description that you're going to work 10 hours and you're going to get dirty and blood and stool and other things on you, and you're not going to get a break, and people will yell at you, I don't think anyone would sign up for that if that was just a job.
Yeah, true. I agree with
yeah.
you. Because
you have to love it. And in that chaotic and crazy environment, that's where people need hope and compassion the most. And that's what draws me there.
they need hope. They need you.
Yes.
Yes. So physician who works in emergency room, I think, and actually I respect them a lot because they need to be a different species, okay? They need to have certain skills. They need to be very fast thinking. They need to be evaluating very fast, responding very fast. Actually, it's like moving from 0 to 100 in seconds.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the thing that drove you there? And how did you felt in the first time that you entered in emergency room?
You know, it was so interesting because you rotate as a medical student, you rotate through all the specialties. So you do family practice, you do surgery, OBGYN, and pediatrics. And I loved all of them. And then I walked into the emergency department and it felt like home because I get to take care of everybody. You don't limit yourself to one specific population or illness process. And so, you know, I might deliver a baby and then do sutures in a child and then take care of an elderly person having a heart attack in the same hour. And the people and the camaraderie and the way that we work together, it immediately felt like home. I knew it was the right choice.
That's good. I think that today the emergency room is basically the only place when you can, even in hospital, between other physician who works in different wards, it's like the emergency is the right place where they're doing medicine. Because in different places, they have like the protocols, which I call them, they hiding behind the protocol to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because, okay, I have a protocol, I don't need to do any. Sometimes it's like, we don't need to think.
Right.
It thinks for us. It tells us what we need to do. And in emergency room, you don't have it. Because the situation is different and you need to respond fast. Today, you're also educating and teaching students. What do you think they need to learn about emergency school? Is there any way that they can be taught to be physicians in emergency room?
Yes, and I think that's really important. One of the first things I teach them is there's more to medicine than medicine. So you need to know how the body works. You need to know how to take care of a heart attack. But if you can't connect with your patient on that human level, if you can't sit down and look them in the eye and listen to their story and see them as a human being, you're going to miss something. Something critically important about their health or their life that needs to be addressed. So it's not just start asking them, how are your teeth? How's your skin? How's your heart? How are your lungs? Those parts all belong to a human. And so to put that together, and, when you become an expert diagnostician, it's because you become an expert listener and an expert human.
Yeah.
And so, I teach them the science, but I spend more of my time teaching them that.
I used to be a diving instructor. I used to have a diving school, and we were teaching emergency, like not first aid, also first aid, but
Yes.
to become a rescue diver.
Mm-hmm.
In the rescue diver, I was teaching what I need to teach according to the book of the PADI organization, but I was sharing as well the need of emergency to think in emergency way.
Yes.
Because this is not only has, okay, I need to do this or that. It's how you respond and react to a situation. So you need to evaluate fast as well. In diving as well, because there you don't have time.
Oh yeah, you're underwater. You need to make a decision right now.
And you need to breathe air. And if you don't have it, there's a problem.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
So so I think that's why I think as well that you're doing an amazing job, because being in emergency room, this is real medicine. You said something, being more human, being a doctor, the physician that is coming to help, and that's by connecting one to another.
Yes.
I don't remember the year exactly, I think it was 1100, there was a doctor, it was in Spain, his name is Maimonides, and he said that the body and spirit are connected together. You cannot separate them.
Right.
The modern medicine divided that. So if there is a physical problem, okay, so I'll go to the doctor, like you, okay?
Right.
But if my physical issues started because of my emotional, my stress, my whatever situation in my life, but then I need to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Right.
And there's a differentiation between that. And today, basically what you said is to connect together the two of them.
Yeah.
How is there a way to change and improve the medical system? What do you think?
Well, it's not a small project, but yes. Yeah. So there's multiple levels that we need to address this. So one, there's a huge problem with physician and staff burnout, and that's a systems issue. People are being asked to do, more and more work with less and less resources and availability and teamwork, and that leads to burnout, and burnout leads to disconnection. So that needs to be addressed. And then even just teaching physicians, giving them the space and time to be able to be with that patient. And I had to walk out of somebody's room yesterday when I was working because they called overhead and somebody was coding. And so you have to go. But as I'm walking out, I'm like, I'm sorry. This is why I'll be right back. I'll address all your concerns. I gotta go. So it can be a little crazy like that, but we still need to be given the space and opportunity to do that. And so it needs to be, multiple. It needs to be a system level. Physicians need the resources and the tools in order to be able to do that. And we just need to reconnect, because if you, as you're an expert in this. If you are so stressed, sometimes that can show up in your body as well. Stress can cause a physical thing. It can cause a heart attack. It can cause those things. So yeah, we don't separate here, like brain stuff this way, body stuff this way. We're all right here in the middle. And you know this.
Yeah. So it's a system, as you said, it's a system issue, but it's need to be addressed on a different level. But still, the doctors, the physicians can do the best because they're coming to serve.
Absolutely. When you come with a service mindset, it changes the whole conversation.
Yes, just like you, because I saw your numerology, your data
yes.
work, and you have the service mindset. According to the numbers, I won't say your numbers here, but I can just say things from numerology from time to time.
Yeah.
You're a person who gives a lot. You give from yourself, from your heart, basically. Okay, because you see yourself as a servant of people.
Mm-hmm.
Very creative. You love as well people a lot. You love people.
Yes.
And you're very smart as well. You're very,
Oh, thank you.
very intelligent. But true, that's true. You know, in a terminal department, when people are coming to die, whatever reason, any illnesses, the doctors, when they're coming there, they're entering to the hospital, and the doctor's supposed to help them maybe to make the last days or last hour easier.
Mm-hmm.
But when people are coming to the emergency room, they're coming to save their life.
Right.
They're coming to fight. They're not ready yet to go. Okay? And I call that end of contract. When we're ending the contract, the soul ends the contract, then it leaves. So how does it feel for you when you're saving a person, and when you're saving a life, when you're saving a human being?
I feel like that's what I'm there to do. For whatever reason, they weren't ready that day to leave, to end the contract. And so I can use my knowledge to help stop that from happening and give them the opportunity to live that life that they were meant to live. They have something left that needs to be done, and they just need the help to get there.
In Hebrew, there's a saying, not important, but there's a saying that the person who saves a person's life, it's as if he saved the whole world.
Oh.
True. How many worlds have you already saved?
Oh.
Are you doing like on your stethoscope, your sound like, you know, like with the gun, with the cowboys, with the stories?
No, but I let the beauty of those moments kind of sink in and become a part of me, because we also see a lot of bad stuff. And so it's so important to get that balance and to be able to take that in.
How do you deal with the bad stuff? With the moments where people are dying and just lost them, just lost life. Not its responsibility, not that we can have responsibility, because I think life is not in our hands.
I agree.
Life and ending life, it's not in our hands. We can change situations, we can help. If they're meant to leave, we can help them.
Right.
But if they're not meant to leave anymore because they ended the contract, so there's nothing that we can do. But still, as a human being, because understanding that we are, my teacher, Bob Proctor, my mentor, my teacher, said that human beings, the way to define human beings, it says that we're a physical being we're a spiritual being living in a physical body and using the intellect. Now, understanding that concept, so we have the body, we have the spiritual part. So when we're looking usually on life from a physical aspect, it's hard. It's hard to lose a patient.
Mm-hmm.
But still, how you can co-op past that moment through and to continue to the next without feeling exhausted or shattered or whatever. How do you do that?
It took a lot of practice, and I certainly made a lot of mistakes along the way. And that it wasn't always the person dying, because sometimes there was nothing that we could do. And if we can take that moment of transition and make it easier, you still felt connected to the satisfying aspect of what we can do. We can't save everybody, but we can help everybody. There's a difference. It was the human atrocities that I saw that were giving me the scars, the horrible things that people do to each other and that can happen. Those were the things that were keeping me up at night. And so I had to learn to let it, it becomes a part of me in that moment, but to be able to release that. And, I didn't cause it. I do my best to fix it. But to bear witness to that is hard. And I heard a quote that I love. It says, it takes a remarkable person to enter the pain of a stranger. And I suspect that feeling when you've had the hypnosis sessions with people. You are entering the pain of a stranger. And so you want to connect in a very deep way, but you also can't own that. You can't take it in. You have to be able to release it. And I had to learn excellent high-level self-care practices in order to be able to do that.
Yes, because I can feel that the same thing what you're saying, because one of the type of clients which I'm working, it's women who were abused.
Yeah.
And sometimes the stories which I hear, now I'm not going into the whole of the stories because I'm not looking for the story. I'm looking for what happened. I am looking for the evidence.
Right.
And not for the just to brag or to tell about it. Okay. But sometimes I feel ashamed being a man. I felt so ashamed being a man. I said, how can men can act this way? Father to daughters, whatever there is. And many of them like happiness everywhere in the world, because I work with women from different places in the world. And I'm saying like, what is going in people's mind exactly? How they think, don't they know that they're affecting the lives of their own daughters?
Right.
And I feel ashamed of being a man in that moment. And this is something special as well with women, because they were abused by men, and I'm now a man that they trust, and I'm coming to help them get over it. So there is a man broke something, but another man is fixing something. And there is a benefit in that as well, but that's where I saw during the work and hearing women, how they respond to that.
Yeah. And it matters, and it helps that to be able to, for somebody who's been through that, to have somebody who can help them, it matters so much.
It is changing life. I had a client that 2 months before she came to me, she's in her 50s, and she was abused. She's like from the age of 3.
Oh.
And yeah, amazing, madness. And she said 2 months before she came to me, before she reached to me, she wanted to commit suicide. She wanted to kill herself. She said, I don't have any reason to live. Now she started working, helping women those years, but she said, that's it. I cannot handle it anymore. And then we met. And I'm working, what I do, it's a 5-session, which is combining evaluation, deep evaluation to find the roots, and then regular hypnosis, and then past life regression as well. And then it's solving everything, because it's solving from deep inside. It's not the symptoms anymore. I'm not working on the memories and the stories. I'm working on the roots. It's changing life. And now she's working with women, helping other women, and it's so great. And we have a special relation now because we're talking from time to time, but
oh, good.
She's amazing as well, woman. Would you know, when I was preparing the question and learning the story and preparing towards this podcast, it came to me like, would you describe yourself as a warrior that fights the angel of death?
I would take on warrior. Yeah, absolutely.
You're a warrior.
I like that.
Yeah, I think as well you're a warrior because of the numbers, the figures that you have in your date of birth.
Mm-hmm.
When we spoke before this, we started recording, I told you that you're a warrior. And I told you that I said I'm going to mention, but yeah, you're a warrior.
Yeah.
You are. Oh. So, jumping here, and what are the biggest fears of people who are coming, like those who can survive, those who are not in coma, okay, and they're talking with you and can share their emotions? What are the biggest fears, and how they describe the situations?
It's interesting. It depends on if they're a young person or if they're older, but I have found this little bit of commonality when people have a near-death experience, when they really thought this could be the end, and now we know you're going to make it, you have another opportunity to start. And what I hear over and over is it's not people regretting the things that they do, it's the stuff that they didn't do that they were trying to live to please others, that they were living what other people thought they should do instead of being comfortable being their true self, following their passion, and being even just a little bit more weird or authentic. And just so people, they find that they really want to connect with who they are. So you'll find after near-death experiences, people sometimes have a pretty big change in their life in the way that they lead it. And it's really cool to give them that chance to be who they really are.
People has a chance to thank you from they coming to thank you after you heard them, or
Sometimes they do, and that's one of the most amazing things. I had somebody reach out to me through one of the social media platforms. Said, I don't know if you remember this, but 7 years ago, you saved my life. And I was like, oh, that is so cool to hear, how it went and how it affected and what he's been doing now and with his life since then. Because that's the one downside. We don't get the follow-up that I would like to have in emergency medicine. But somehow some of those people find their way back. And I love that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think that your book, because you wrote a book, Habit That.
Yes.
And in your book, you're talking about short process, fast process.
Uh-huh.
By creating habits, you don't need to work hours, you don't need to invest hours, you don't need to do things for a long time. You need to do it fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a feeling like I haven't read your book. Do you have your book next to you? Can you show it?
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to put it here, but this is my husband's desk. So he very sweetly has a copy handy for me. Wasn't that so sweet that he put that there?
Absolutely. I agree with that. Because I don't have your book, but I read about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it in Amazon because it shares part of it.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing which I read there, it's like everything is to do in 5 minutes you can solve things. In 5 minutes you start creating the change. Just okay. But it's as well, I think it's coming from your emergency room habits.
Yes, we're fast.
Let's do it fast. Let's do it fast. We need to do it short and fast.
Yes.
And what was the trigger that made you to write this book?
So I've been teaching this stuff for years. So I teach physicians how to help patients make behavior change. Because the problem is I see so many people doing it wrong, and it's so frustrating. And then I hear patients, they think, okay, my doctor says I have to exercise for 3 hours a day and do this for hours and hours. And that becomes so overwhelming and intimidating. The response is they do nothing. And so I would rather somebody do 5 minutes than do nothing. And so to make it more accessible and easy to use, and then the way that we achieve those 5 minutes are the type of principles that I've been teaching for years and how that can accumulate. It's amazing what a difference that can make. And it's so easy when you just chunk it down that way.
One of the things that we're doing here in Unleash Your Mind in this podcast, which I wanted to do, is to talk about the transformation path that the guests are going in their life.
Yes.
Okay? And to show, because basically the people who listen and watch this interview and podcast are the people who wants to know, because sometimes most of the people say, I want to change, I don't know how to change.
Right. We need the pathway, we need the tools.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're giving, by the stories of the guests here, I'm showing, okay, he changed his life. Now,
Yes.
Your life story as a girl, you were actually very healthy young girl, and you were eating very healthy. You loved vegetables and all the healthy food, right?
Now I do. I was the worst picky eater.
I was joking. I read that. I know that you know.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, as a kid. Yeah, see, I was the worst. So bad. Sorry, Mom.
How do you teach your kids right now how to eat? What do you teach? Are you giving them vegetables or?
I do. So my kids are 5 and 7, and they have a green vegetable every single day with lunch and dinner. Every day. It's not a question. Where they are empowered to make a choice is to choose which green vegetable. So for lunch, almost every single day, my son chooses green beans and my daughter chooses seaweed. And I'm okay with that because I was such a bad eater growing up that I knew I had to start them really, really early before they realized that not every kid eats vegetables. So I was trying to undo some of the problems because as an adult, for me to try and overcome those bad habits was a lot harder. So I was trying to arm them with the right habits from the beginning, but then I help people like me who had to struggle a little bit.
Tell your story. I want you to share about your story as a child, as you were eating, and basically it's environment. Okay, that's this. I think in general in the United States today, it's the society because all the junk food that there is, it's able to everyone and in big quantities. Okay?
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah, but
you can buy a big party-sized bag of Cheetos in a convenience store for less than you can buy one banana because it costs more for them to keep the banana in stock in case it rots. The Cheetos are not going to rot.
So how was it for you, your life when you were young? I want to hear the transformation that you did.
Yes. So it was everywhere. So my parents both worked at McDonald's. That's how they met. So, we certainly had some McDonald's in our life, as you can imagine. And junk food, we didn't have a ton of money growing up, and it's very easy to access. It's everywhere. And I didn't if I ate maybe a banana and some carrots in a week, that was the extent of my fruits and vegetables. And so we would, a meal would be something like hot dogs and mac and cheese. And my parents, it was a lack of knowledge, a lack of resources. They certainly weren't trying to harm us, but also path of least resistance. You try and give a very picky eater kid a plate of spinach, and that's not going to go well, but you give me mac and cheese and a hot dog, of course I'm going to eat that. And I'm a kid, I don't know better. It tastes good. Great. And so as I got older and a teenager, and with, bless that teenage metabolism, you can get away with eating all that stuff. But as I went further in my studies and really truly understood how those foods interact with our bodies, it kind of starts to take away a little of the fun. But I knew that I wanted to be a physician. And if I was going to tell a patient that they need to eat healthy while I'm wiping Cheeto dust off my hands, I can't live that kind of life. So I said, okay, if I'm going to give people advice, why don't I try it first and see how hard it is? And it was hard in some ways because I had to learn from the beginning. I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have a guide and easy tips. It was a lot of trial and error and a lot of error. And
part of the journey.
Yes. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to start with something very, very simple. I'm going to start with just drinking water. Just drinking more water. I realized that wasn't a priority to me. So I put a checkbox list in my closet in my little apartment dorm. And then, every day I had to check off the boxes. And so when you open your closet and see you haven't checked off your boxes, you're like, oh no, it's a very visual reminder. And I found it didn't take very long at all. I knew those boxes were coming. So I just incorporated water. I started carrying it with me everywhere. And that was so many years ago. I haven't had to have check boxes for years. It's such an ingrained habit. I took it off my mind. It just happens. My body reaches for it. Once you make something a habit, you get it. You're golden and you get to keep that habit. And so I was like, oh, that made sense. So I said, okay, next habit. And now, my favorite lunch that I make for myself is this giant plate of vegetables. And I'm confident that my 7-year-old self would be horrified. But it took time and that belief that I could do it, and it worked.
How long it took you to change the habits, more or less?
It depends on the habit. The water habit came. The 21-day thing is kind of a myth. I think people are familiar with it takes 21 days to change a habit. That's not true. It depends on how hard the habit is, what barriers you have to overcome the habit, how bad you want it. There's no 21-day magic. The water took less time than that. The vegetables took more because I didn't like them. So I had to try harder. But I was very firmly connected with my reason for doing it. And that helped take away some of the barriers.
that's part like similar to the myths, like the 21 days, similar to the myths about diet, because
Yeah.
actually diet is not working.
No, diets are.
And there was, and I read an article. It's very difficult to find it again, but I found an article that's saying that there was a convention, a medical convention. I think it was Chicago, 2013. That there was a meeting, and they said that obesity become epidemic in United States.
Mhm.
95% of the people who are going to do diet, they're going to repeat that. So
Yeah.
that
Oh,
is
yeah.
not the way. So that is not the way. And
Correct.
myself, I got fat, overweighted because of stress.
Hmm.
My reason is a stress.
Yep. Very common.
And then it's become hard when you're getting older and you stay with that, it's becoming harder to lose it. So now I'm working on it and I'm dropping it like easy. But I'm working as well with the mind.
Yes.
And that's to find the roots inside. Like I have a client, and she tried diets all over. And I think as well you call it a yo-yo diet. Like
Yes. Yes.
up and down, up and down, up and down, like accordion, like the
Mhm.
instrument. And then she came to me, and she is a coach. She's training other people, and she said, "Okay, explain me and show me how." So I explained to her how we work, and but then I said, "Now I want to be a client. Don't be the therapist. I want you to listen. Don't tell me what you know. Just listen." And we work and we find the roots. And the trigger was that something that she said when she was 30 years old. Now it's 30 years later, okay? And she said something, she put a condition on her weight.
Oh.
Something external, like her father had an accident. She said, if my father, it's like condition, like if he's coming back, if he'll be okay, so I'll be nice for him. But it
Okay.
and then she started getting overweight, and no diets took it off.
Right.
I found it, and I worked with it with hypnosis. She already lost, the last time I heard about a month ago, 20 kilos.
Nice.
So it was like easy. Suddenly it's become easy.
Yes. It's in the mind.
Everything is in the mind.
Yes.
But so that habits as well that you're talking as well. So the myth of 21 days is not sport.
Yes.
But the starting in the mind, changing the things and start building it up, absolutely it is. Absolutely. So
Yes.
what is the muffin moments? Why muffin?
I like memes. I think it's a very hilarious form of humor when you need just a good stress relief.
Absolutely.
And I remember seeing this one. It was this car, and it was crushed by what looked like a giant meteor, except it was a muffin, like one of those big ones you expect to see on top of a giant building. And the whole caption just says, "Suddenly, a muffin." I just remember laughing so hard at the randomness and ridiculousness of that. And that's how moments in our lives happen sometimes, though, right? You know, you're like, okay, I have a plan. I'm doing my habits. I'm doing all this great stuff. And then suddenly a muffin. Like the time that I got acute appendicitis while I was trying to work on this. Or, you know, the time I slipped on the ice like a cartoon character, like everything went up in the air, feet in the air, everything went flying, and fell and broke my hand. That was pretty inconvenient. So you just kind of like, okay, well, this is a muffin moment. Obviously, I'm going to need to, you know, find a way to work around this. But, you know, I just take those in and like, okay, what can I do about this crazy muffin that just was handed to me?
It's interesting. I like the muffin. Now that you're explaining it, because I read it, I said, why the muffin? Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you're explaining, it's nice actually. You know, yesterday I got a message from a Facebook follower and said, can you explain me? The energy follows, and there is bad and good, and what is good, and how we define. And I say, you know, there is no bad and good, because there is a situation. The bad thing that we have in life, the muffin moment,
Yes,
are basically the good thing that show us and teach us how to find the real good things. So And now it came to me when you were explaining the muffin, it came to me that question because I didn't prepare that, but it came to me now, like now, okay, that's explanation because the muffin is the good thing.
Yeah.
It falls on her head and showing us, okay, wake up. Now
Yep.
it's time to change.
Yep.
But I like it, actually. I like your muffin.
Yeah. That's why it's a muffin and not like a big scary rock or something, because it wrapped in that thing is an opportunity.
Yeah. How you hold from transforming from the inspiration and motivation into the action and creating the habits?
So it's a little bit of a kind of a process. So first it's about the mindset, getting yourself clear on why you want something and how you view yourself. Because if you view yourself as a fat person, no matter what diet you go on, you're going to think and act like a fat person. If you view yourself as a healthy person, you're going to still eat brownies now and then, but you're going to think and act like a healthy person. Once somebody gets that clear and knows really truly why they want to do this, they want to never be stuck in a seat on an airplane again and have to ask for the belt extender, or they want to play with their kids at the playground and not get out of breath, whatever that true underlying why is. So you get the mindset and connect the why, and then giving somebody linear steps to create a habit. That's the easy part. I know it doesn't sound easy, but that's actually incredibly easy. I have a form. You just write what you want to do at the top, the habit, and fill out the sheet, and you'll be doing it in no time. You just have to do the other steps first.
Absolutely. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's you said that now, that the image that we have in the mind.
Yes.
I was very slim. I was slim. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I was slim. And during the years, even when I got over, and that was the frustration thing, but I always visualize myself as the slim person. And I'm saying, this is my target. But when seeing myself in the mirror, then I was frustrated because now it's not the slim guy.
Right.
Okay? But yeah, that's the thing that I'm saying, this is my target. I'm going back towards it. And it's working. It's slowly. You know, it's a slow process. It doesn't work 21 days. I wish, but it does.
Right.
Okay. But that's part of the thing, and that's everything. It starts in the mind, as we said before, but also that one.
Yes.
You know, people are, the book that you wrote, in a way, okay, it's advice how to prevent something, right?
Oh yeah.
Yet people are not really responding fast to prevention. They're only jumping, and when they actually really need to act. Now we have a problem.
Yes.
And what is your advice to those people that just need for the muffin to come and
Yeah.
on their head?
I mean, if they want to wait for the muffin, that's fine, but it makes life a lot harder. In my 13 years of working in the ER, that's their muffin day. When I see people, it's on the worst day of their life. And that's what really started to help light this fire. I would love to prevent people from having to need to see me in the ER. And so sometimes it helps they're there they see their family member or their friend having their muffin moment, and that's enough. So anyone who's willing to grab onto this upstream before they end there, that makes me so happy.
So who are Sarah, Bill, Mary, and George? Have you met them during your work?
Yes, and yes and no. Because of our work, everything is 100% confidentiality. So these are not real patients,
Sure.
but I've seen thousands of patients over the years. And so you see, there are so many patterns. There are so many stories and things you see over and over. And I didn't want to write a textbook because you can't bore people into learning. So I wanted to share stories of relatable, regular human beings. None of my characters in the book suddenly become like magical Olympians and perfect healthy people. They're still regular people. And so people can see that this truly is accessible for everyone right where they're at right now.
So why you choose them? Why those particular ones in the character?
You know, I was playing around with a lot of different ideas, and I was thinking, who is going to read this book? And people who are going to read it are, there's a range of ages, Sarah's in her 30s, George is in his late 60s, because there's no point at which this can't help somebody. Even, George, he's got a bum knee, he's an older guy, he's retired, but he still wants to get healthy.
He's the entrepreneur, Bill, I think.
Yeah, Bill, the hard driving entrepreneur, and then Mary, her kids are in college now, she's the empty nester. And so I wanted characters that feel real, that these people in your real life. And because this can apply to anyone, even in the very different situations they're all living. I love them. I'm actually really attached to them.
Absolutely. That's the avatar. When you're doing the marketing, and this is exactly the avatar, how we connect to the avatar.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question which might not be fair.
Okay.
I'm preparing. It's like asking who is your favorite kid. No, but I'm joking. What is your favorite part in the book?
My favorite part in the book.
Probably there's several of them.
Oh, sure. Well, okay. So when I was writing it, it was fun to put in a lot of my goofy sense of humor. As you can tell, I take my job seriously, but you can tell I don't take myself very seriously. So there needs to be lighthearted and fun. But I felt a change in me when I was writing the chapter about release, about stress release. And that flowed, there was something about the way that flowed out of me. Because whether someone's in my emergency department for an ankle sprain or a heart attack, if you ask patients, almost everyone will say, I'm under increased stress right now. And people, when they hear weight loss and health, everybody's like, oh, diet and exercise. But if you don't manage the stress, the other stuff, it's not going to work. And so to be able to share that with people and ways to help people just release some of that stress out of their life, there was something about that moment and getting that ready. I loved it.
That's good. Actually, I've seen, I think it was the BBC. When I studied the hypnosis, I've seen a video recorded from the BBC that doctors were practicing hypnosis on the patient while being in the situation.
Yeah.
That's really changed situation in their life. Even somebody was burned from whatever electric burn, and everything went inside. But helping with the hypnosis was really helping. So that's as well part of the stress that can be helped to relieve. Like just breathe, just breathe down, just calm down and just breathe deep, things like that. It just came to me right now.
No, it's amazing what a difference that makes. That's why they tell women in labor to breathe.
Exactly.
And relax, because just speaking from experience, it hurts.
But yes, true.
Yeah, but they have hypnobirthing classes, and they have things to try and help you take control of your body when you're going through a painful situation. And it's very empowering. I'm not saying it magically makes the pain go away if your arm's broken in 3 pieces, but it sure makes a big difference.
It can. With hypnosis,
yes. It can take it away completely. That's a harder step to get to, but I'll take anything.
Yeah. But that's a different part as well. Because then when you can, my teacher, when I studied hypnosis, my teacher said she broke her leg and she started doing the hypnosis and she didn't have a pain.
Nice.
But then she forgot and she came to the doctor. Okay, it doesn't pain. No, it's not. She forgot that she put the hypnosis. Then she had to release it so she can feel again, and so the doctor can analyze where is the problem.
Right. Yeah. When you've got that level of control, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll see. Maybe I'll see if I have the link for the hypnosis. I'm not sure if I can send it, but it's too hard. I'll see if I can send it to you.
Yeah.
What is the most important tip that you can have for the people to change their life that you can give here to the listeners?
Oh, start with mindset. It's not about your diet. That could be changed. It's not some magic diet. It's about your mindset. If you truly think of yourself as a healthy person, put it on Post-it notes, change your password to I am a healthy person with some numbers and other stuff so no one can break into it. And really embrace this mind that you are a healthy person. The rest of the steps or the habits are going to fall into place. I think that's the most important part.
Thank Jamie, first of all, I want to thank you for your time. It's great, and for the inspiration and the stories that you have. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, Unleash Your Mind. And thank you.
Awesome. I so appreciate being here. Thank you for having me as a guest, and I really enjoyed talking to you.
Me too. Wait a second.